well-known faces of the protest movement, and he joins us now from Hong Kong. Joshua, thanks so much for your time. Now, as we just heard there, protesters are back on the streets, and that just shows us how important is this for them. And I have seen your tweet, actually, where you described this as the beginning of the end of this fight. Why is this so important for you?
Time is running out in Hong Kong because the announcement of the national security law just turned Hong Kong from one country, two system to the new era of one country, one system. This national security law will have the regulation of anti-subversion, which could target NGOs, journalists, activists, scholars that criticize the government. And more dissidents in Hong Kong might face the same destiny or situation as how activists in China face. But we must not silence our voice. That's the reason for more than 100,000 Hong Kongers take back to the street again, even under the outbreak of COVID-19.
Joshua, exactly, explain to us, for international audience, I think this is crucial, exactly what freedoms for the people of Hong Kong are under threat by these new proposed national security laws?
According to our understanding, the proposed national security law will allow to set up national security agency like the secret police branch in Hong Kong. And the biggest concern is the arbitrary and political interpretation of the law. And when they use the law in China, lawyers, reporters, or religious groups were accused of inciting subversion. And what will not be surprised is this law could also be targeted and to use to silence the voice of some of the foreigners, foreign businessmen or expats live in Hong Kong. So it's not just a matter of Hong Kong, it's also the matter to the world. In the previous day, when China hoped to imply the anti-subversion law in Hong Kong, at least it still need to go through the legislation process in Hong Kong. But now in 2020, Beijing claimed that they could just announce this law and bypass the Hong Kong legislature. And we just hope to call upon the world. Is the time for Hong Kong to fight back, and we need to safeguard the political and economic freedom in Hong Kong. But unfortunately, the riot police in Hong Kong today just use the water cannon, use the rubber bullet, use the tear gas to target the protester. But we must continue the fight.
Joshua, we have seen this before, millions out in the streets, tear gas, also strong international support for the anti-Beijing demonstrators. But still, China continues to ignore the protesters' concerns. So some would say that these protests are not actually working. And they are actually only harming Hong Kong financially. So what do you say to this?
Last year, with more than 2 million Hong Kongers took to the street in such a global city with only 7 million population, on last September, we successfully forced Beijing completely withdraw the controversial extradition bill. And in 2020, when Beijing planned to introduce the more evil law, the anti-subversion law or the anti-national security law, of course, more than thousands of Hong Kongers, we took to the street again, and we hope to let the world to know that how this evil law might kill the future democratic movement. And with the remarkable achievement on last September, we will try our best, no matter on local or global community, hope to encourage more people to stand with Hong Kong.
Joshua, obviously, protesters that you represent, you will continue to protest in the upcoming days. You already announced that. But this happens, in the middle of COVID-19 pandemic. How will you protect yourselves from the virus?
It's lucky that the number of confirmed cases of the COVID-19 dropped to 0 for more than 2 weeks already. If Beijing introduced this national security law in March or April, which will be really difficult for us mobilize people to street. But when the number of confirmed cases drop to 0 rapidly and the pandemic almost end in Hong Kong, it's time for us mobilize people and to fight back and let Beijing to know that we need to safeguard the freedom of Hong Kong. And how global community, no matter MPs in UK, Washington, leaders from the Capitol Hill, they also show the concern and criticize Beijing. This move will just erode the universal value that we all believe in.
Joshua Wong, thanks so much for that. Thanks for your time for TRT World. He's a Hong Kong activist.